ujuaje? Tutakunyonyesha Orengo. Tutakunyonyesha nani? Na tafadhali heshimu mama. Wanga ni siku zombo. Tulete hapa mdomo, mzae utanyonya. Siaka.
Yet again, the political drift inside Orange Democratic Movement continues to deepen. Previously, the tension seemed to be revolving around Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi and the Odinga family. But this week, the spotlight has shifted to a new political storm, James Orengo versus the party itself. And now Kenyans are beginning to ask a serious question: who truly leads ODM today?
When Baba left us, there was an issue about leadership of ODM moving forward, and Oburu Oginga was installed as a party leader. It was interim, then now later they're like, okay.
Yeah.
How did you take that?
Well, it was highly unconstitutional, irregular.
For real?
The person who did it was President Ruto. He convened a meeting in State House. As people were going to India, he was already making arrangements of how that position, Raila Amolo Odinga, was going to be given to somebody else.
Tensions escalated after party members accused Governor James Orengo of disrespecting Gladys Wanga. The exchange may seem like ordinary party disagreement, but many believe it reflects a deeper identity crisis within ODM. Because for years, ODM positioned itself as the face of opposition politics in Kenya, a party associated with resistance, street protest, government accountability, and standing with the frustrations of ordinary citizens. But today, many Kenyans feel that spirit is disappearing, and the biggest reason being mentioned is the so-called broad-based government.
Waswahili wanasema umoja ni nini? Si umoja ni nguvu jameni? Mimi nawauliza, mimi nimekubaliana na nilikubaliana na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga. Tukasema tunaunganisha taifa letu la Kenya. Tunatengeneza serikali ya broad-based, ya kuunganisha Wakenya wote, ili tuondoe ukabila na tuondoe chuki na tuondoe ubaguzi. Wakenya wote wawe wamoja. Sehemu zote za Kenya zishughulikiwe kwa mambo ya maendeleo.
Since the broad-based government arrangement between President William Ruto and sections of ODM leadership, the political atmosphere has completely changed. And nowhere has that change been more visible than in Kisumu.
You didn't see people in Kondele protesting, for example. The People's Defense Forces of Kondele were not protesting. It's not that is fuel being sold cheaper in Kisumu?
I think it's even more expensive.
Yes, it's more expensive towards that side, but there were no protests. And there's something that was very glaring. For the first time, we saw protests in Kano. We saw protests in Githurai. We saw protests in Nyandarua. And that tag, yes, that tag that had been reserved for wale watu wa kung'oa reli, wale watu wa kuharibu mali ya watu ya kuchoma vitu, you realize that no, protesting is not a tribal affair. So now you see the reason why there's lack of class solidarity is for a long time. These guys have been saying, as we've been protesting for these things, and now you're telling us, apana, tuache tu, this one is our God-given leader. Now, do you think that these are people who will stand with you in solidarity? It's your turn kung'oa reli.
For the longest time, Kisumu was known as the heartbeat of opposition politics. The streets were always active, demonstrations were common, and supporters consistently maintained that the late Raila Odinga should have been in office. But during the recent nationwide frustrations over rising fuel prices, many people noticed something unusual. While protests and demonstrations were happening in different parts of the country, Kisumu remained relatively calm, quiet and politically silent, and to critics, that silence spoke volumes. Because many people started asking, how can a region once known for resistance suddenly become silent over an issue affecting every Kenyan? Fuel prices do not choose political parties. The high cost of living affects everyone. So why did the political energy suddenly disappear? And this is where the criticism toward ODM continues growing. Critics argue that once sections of the party joined the broad-based government, they could no longer aggressively challenge the same administration they are now eating with.
The comfort zone of maandamano was so easy. But today we want to resist maandamano and grab the opportunity of development. I will do anything. Baba left us in broad-based government. How then do we leave the government to go and seek the government? I do not want to be in Hosea's book, being the one being described as my people perish for lack of what? God has remembered Busia. When you see the seers here, he knows Busia is crying. When he sees you here, he knows Busia was derailed and denied their right in this country.
In simple terms, how do you oppose a government you are politically dining with? And perhaps that is why many Kenyans now feel ODM is caught in the middle, too close to the government to become a strong opposition force, yet too politically detached to be fully merge with the ruling party. And now, another major question is beginning to emerge ahead of the 2027 election. Can ODM even produce a serious presidential candidate anymore? Because if the party fully stands against government, it risks destabilizing the very arrangement benefiting some of its leaders. But if it fully supports government, then how does it remain an opposition party? And maybe that is why ODM now appears politically isolated. It cannot fully join the opposition figures like Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua or Fred Matiang'i because politically the party is already partially aligned with government. At the same time, many supporters feel it no longer represents the aggressive opposition identity it once had. And this has now created one of the biggest political debates in Kenya today. Is ODM still truly an opposition party, or has it slowly become a smaller branch orbiting around United Democratic Alliance? Politics in Kenya has always been about alliances, survival, and influence. But one thing history teaches us is this: the moment an opposition party loses its voice, its supporters begin searching for a new one. And as 2027 slowly approaches, ODM may soon face its biggest political test yet. Can it still stand independently, or has the broad-based government permanently changed its identity?